Y'all kids on TikTok kept talking about how some teen in a crop top could make a great actor, when in reality, all they did was hit a whoa and jailbait old men. Anyway, here we are. Somebody decided to make that an entire series. And by the way, should I mention their entire channel is full of that, so this isn't the first time Brat TV will be here. But let's look at Attaway General.
Today's premiere of Attaway General is brought to you by Just Dance 2020.
Now, Attaway General is particularly interesting, right? Because it's kind of like those memes where somebody steals the homework but only changes it just a little. It's like if someone wrote a fan fiction of Grey's Anatomy and had TikTok stars be in it.
Diego wasn't planning on it. You turn to look at the boys and you see all of them jerking off to you and Lauren. Lauren was getting fucked by Carlos and you were getting eaten out by Diego.
And I should mention, I've never ever in my life seen any of these actors before. I've never even seen them before, period, because I'm not 15 years old. In this show, the acting is horrendous. Horrendous.
What are you doing?
Oh.
Don't come any closer.
I don't think that's gonna hurt anyone.
Depends where I put it.
The quality of the production, well, you know, the quality of the production's okay. I mean, it's nothing to sniff at, but it ain't gonna, like, win any awards anytime soon. I guess it looks like a hospital, so it can't really rag on the set design of everything, you know. It looks like we're there. It looks like Attaway General's a real place. That's what it looks like. Except for the part where they just have, like, I don't know, construction paper signs of the hospital. Now, for those of you sitting at home wondering why I'm critiquing a children's show, you might be going to yourself, Diesel, these are kids' shows. They don't need to be good. You know, they're for kids. And let me tell you this, kids aren't stupid. They notice a bad show when they watch one, and as a result, kids shows get canceled because, hey, they're not really that good. But here's the thing, if we're okay with okay kids media, then we're never going to have astounding kids media, which kids can have good media. If you and I are living in a golden age of content when we can watch Breaking Bad, Game of Thrones, except for the, you know, end of the show, and all these other shows that are absolutely amazing and award-winning, kids should be allowed to watch great content too. And there is, right? But if we're okay with okay kids content, then we're never gonna have astounding kids content. Because there's great stuff out there, tons of great shows on Netflix that don't get the airtime that shows like this are gonna end up getting. And it's such a shame that kids aren't watching stuff like that and instead end up watching stuff like this.
Nurse Sandy told me to be careful. One of the boys bullied the other, and it's pretty dangerous.
Oh, bullies are scary.
Be nice.
Parents, if you're watching, please take an active role in what your kids watch online. Give them content that you think is good for them, but not only that, make sure it's good content that you could say, I'm glad I put that in front of my child. Attaway General should not be something you put in front of your child. But whatever, let's talk about Attaway General, aka the TikTok hospital.
I was on my way to the supply room for supplies.
That's funny. So was I.
I didn't know you were Dr. Henry's protege. What a nerd.
Nerd or stud?
Nerd.
Smart is the new sexy. I read that somewhere.
Oh, you read too? I'm impressed.
I read lots of things. Novels, magazines, instruction manuals.
The biggest issue with this show, aside from what I assume is a script written specifically for the acting, so a lot of this has to do with the acting, but the problem with the acting is that the actors can't. Not one of the leads is like an amazing actor. In fact, they're all pretty mediocre by terms of like live action kid show standards, right? When we compare this to like contemporaries on Nickelodeon, and Nickelodeon live action shows are typically known for their soundstage setup, you know, you're only looking at it from one angle, you know, and you can kind of tell it's a set, but there's a lot of overacting in Nickelodeon shows. This is the exact opposite, where they do their best to make it look like a hospital to make up for the underacting that the actors perform. Now, in this kind of like drama, comedy, Grey's Anatomy for kids kind of deal, you know, maybe overacting would be better than underacting, because what you end up getting is just a bunch of kids staring blankly at each other as they read their lines, and boy, is it just some of the most cringeworthy stuff imaginable. Like, imagine if you and I had an argument, and I just said it with, yeah, you can't do that. I don't really appreciate that. See, I even said it with more emotion than some of these teens said it, so, you know, there's a problem there. Here's the thing, these kids aren't actors, right? And some of them aren't even kids. In fact, they are probably closer to my age. In fact, there is a couple members of the cast who are like a year younger than me, or just like literally my age. So, you know, it's definitely weird for me to be like, you kids are bad. And I don't know why I'm calling them kids, because again, it's like we're in the same age group, you know? But it's hilarious because you have actors who have been basically bred for this moment. You know, they've been kids that have been bussed around by their parents to auditions left and right, looking for their break into Hollywood. And then you get Diego, whatever his name is, just fumbling his way through an entire TV series.
Don't volunteer me to do extra work.
So yeah, the biggest problem with this show is the acting. I mean, aside from the premise, yeah, we'll start with the acting. And I'll start with who I think is the best actor out of the group to the worst. And I'm sorry if you were a fan of one of these TikTokers. So we'll start with the best of the leads, and that would be Kit, aka Gabby Morrison, aka I just looked it up on IMDb. Now, Kit as a character is probably one of the only people I can sit here and go, that's a character, right? Because at least, you know, she's trying, she's delivering her lines clearly, she's there, she appears present in the moment, right? She appears to be acting, which is a compliment, I swear. But Kit is essentially the poster child for malpractice. She basically acts as kind of like an expository dialogue machine whenever we get a new patient in Attaway General's emergency. Yeah, for some reason, these kids work in like triage and like emergency, so they're dealing with like immediate necessary doctors, please help this boy, he's like bleeding out. I don't know why these kids are here. They shouldn't be.
Guess you didn't think the other guy would hit back, huh? Wow, 33 pins? Decision that these pins were placed with is really next level. Look. Sutures look like they healed nicely. Shouldn't have too much of a scar. I would have used absorbable sutures myself, but then they couldn't bill you twice.
But she's the poster child for malpractice because she does things like walk into a room and talk about how a kid has brain cancer with the 6-year-old child standing there. How about another moment where Kit just walks into a room, reads some patient's files? How about a moment where Kit provides medical care to one of the patients of which she should not be doing that? That's malpractice. You're breaking patient-doctor confidentiality. There's tons of issues and things that they're breaking constantly over the course of the show. In fact, if I called up a lawyer right now and went, hello, I'd like for you to look at all the malpractice happening in this, I think I'd have millions and millions of dollars waiting on my hands. Because it's absolutely hilarious how many times they're technically breaking the law.
Soma is rare. It accounts for less than 3% of pediatric cancer cases.
I don't think she wants to hear about that right now.
I don't mind. This is my 8th doctor. I'm used to it.
Still, that's not our job. We're not doctors.
It never will be with that attitude.
You're not even supposed to look at the charts.
She doesn't mind, do you?
Knock yourself out.
Kit as a character is basically like some sophomore in high school who got through AP Bio really early on in life, and for some reason thinks that AP Bio makes them a doctor. Like, just imagine you're sitting in the ER, bleeding out, waiting for a nurse to come back, but for some reason the person who comes back is a 16-year-old girl who says, huh, that looks pretty bad. Well, you're not passed out yet, so I guess it could be worse. Well, it's like, oh yeah, I'm only bleeding. Thanks, child. Why are you here? You know, I guess given her no experience, that Gabby is probably the best actor out of the bunch. I assume she has no experience, or maybe she paid for some training beforehand. You know, something that everybody else should have done. But, you know, it's really hard for me to rag on her acting because it's okay. Now, her character is awful. And they do stupid things consistently to the point where I'm sitting there and wondering, how? Why? What? The rest of the kids in this are just all Tommy Wiseau levels bad. Now, if you put them in a lineup, I wouldn't be able to tell you the difference, but apparently there's another D'Amelio aside from Charlie, whose name is Dixie. But if you put both of them next to each other, I'm sorry, I wouldn't be able to tell the difference. Anyway, she's the older D'Amelio, and she technically plays the main character, Georgia. But let's talk about D'Amelio, because she is not a good actor at all, and she should please, like, she literally does not sound like she wants to be there. And that's not her character. Her character is not to sound like that. There is a character like that, but it's not hers. You know, here's what her acting sounds like. Her acting sounds like there's a PA with cue cards standing behind a camera, giving lines to D'Amelio, so that way she can read them out and actually be on cue.
No.
Why? You're not gonna be home and I have nothing to do.
I've seen your report card. There's clearly some studying you could do.
On a Friday night?
Georgia, you need to take your education more seriously. I gotta go.
Another great talk, Dad.
But episodes are 10 minutes long. So with 10-minute long episodes, you need to deliver a lot of stuff very fast. And that's one of the production problems with this show. The script is written for a show that needs like 30 minutes to like develop everything. But no, that's not what we get. We get 10 minutes to do 4 main characters plus side characters that are just as detailed. And so it ends up being really uneven. She gets the most screen time though, I would argue. And she also is part of the first love plot in a show because you know you can't have a medical drama without some kooky romance antics.
I can see why they call this room the shed.
Come on, the faster we finish, the faster we can go do something real.
We've been here 5 seconds.
Studies show we form lasting impressions about others within seconds of meeting. So I can't be with you in a closet when I meet Dr. Henry. He's the most brilliant surgeon in the state.
Unfortunately, he doesn't have the same accolades as a father.
Seriously? You're his daughter? You're so lucky and you don't even know it.
You're giving me the impression I don't want to be in the same room as you.
Well, that's mutual.
If you're so advanced, why don't you go scrub in? Leave me be.
Maybe I will.
This part at the beginning of the series is really funny because these characters don't know each other yet. In fact, they've barely interacted, so the fact that she is like spilling her guts out is really weird. Okay, kids just don't walk into a room and go, oh, well, here's my backstory. That doesn't happen. They just don't tell people like this. If you have baggage about your parents and you're in high school, you don't open conversations with strangers like that. And what makes Georgia, the character that D'Amelio plays, so hilarious is that she kind of has like this strained relationship with her father, as she told us, the audience, and Kit. And at one point, her father is using good bedside manner with that child that I mentioned that has brain cancer. And for some reason, Georgia gets really mad about this, rolls her eyes, and walks off. I understand that she is upset about this, but the fact that, you know, she's upset about her father having good bedside manner to a kid that is probably gonna die, you know, is just the most hilarious thing ever. Like, let's look at the priorities here, you know? We have an emergency room doctor, right? Maybe like an emergency room surgeon, I'm guessing is what he is. I don't know, it depends on the day. Depends on the day in this show, right? You don't have a specialty, you just are, right? But they go back and forth, you know, and she talks about how, you know, her father doesn't love her, oh. But, like, how am I supposed to be on her side when the doctor should be, at least in that moment, prioritizing this kid who cannot even grasp the fact that they might die soon? And she's getting offended? Oh, how dare he take time to do that? What a weird moment to choose to exemplify how he's a good doctor but not a bad parent. It just makes her look like one of the worst people ever. Georgia as a character, her feelings are delivered at you so flatly that honestly, I'd rather just read the cue cards that the PA is putting up. Occasionally, instead of just flatly, you know, saying her lines, she'll mumble through them and then you're like, huh? I think that's what I heard, so I guess that's what she said. You know, but you're not really sure because she mumbled through her lines and they didn't use another take. I guess they just filmed it all in one take. And then Georgia's supposed to have this like romance with this Fortnite default skin of a guy. This is kind of like one of those drama moments in TV shows where two characters look at each other and instantly fall in love. But in this, it happens at such breakneck speed that you're a little weirded out. Also, the fact that they're supposed to be teen volunteers and the fact that they're going in a like supply shed to have a moment is just completely strange.
I don't think that's gonna hurt anyone.
Depends where I put it.
Anyway, I think the character's name is Will, or maybe the actor's name is Will. I don't know, does it really matter for this guy? Because he is just McDreamy. He's just McDreamy from Grey's Anatomy, okay? So if I call him McDreamy, that's what he is. You know, they like instantly fall in love and fall out of love in maybe like a total of 5 minutes screen time. You know, I ended up looking up a picture of what this guy looks like normally, and of course, it's exactly what you guys think it is. You know, he's wearing the black shirt with the white striped underneath it, and you know, he's got the AliExpress chain necklace with the matching cross earrings. Yeah, thank you, guy, for being the biggest stereotype I've seen in a long time. Oh, I understand. You got more followers than me, but let's be real here. Honey, you're a cliche. The worst part is that he's old enough to know what's happening here. Like, he's actually also in a fraternity, I read. And there is no way his frat guys can't not be making fun of him for this, because he looks like an idiot. He looks stupid. Like, he's always walking around with his mouth agape. Like, close your mouth. That's not hot. All right? You're gonna catch flies in your mouth. Close your mouth. Every scene you're in, your mouth is open. Close it. Okay, I had to look up this girl's name again, because she's so incredibly forgettable. So this character is played by Lauren Kettering. I almost said Lauren Kettles. But kettles are for boiling water. Anyway, she plays a character, damn it, I forgot again, named Rosie. I don't know why this character's here. I don't even think she matters that much. I guess they're gearing up for a love triangle plot between D'Amelio and Kettering's character. That's what I would do if I was writing this show, and it seems like that's the case because, you know, if we're gonna write a teen drama, we need to have a love triangle in it. You know, it's really hard to say what her character is aside from does her job, but like, she's so unworth mentioning. Like, she is probably the least important character so far. And you know, it just really makes me wonder, why are these people here? Why are they casted in this show? What's the point of them being here? And a hot take here, is it just me, or these people just get famous because they're conventionally attractive? Because I don't really see why else these people would be in this show, or why else they're popular, or why are they here? Anyway, my brother is directly in their age bracket, so let's just ask him what he feels about this.
The fact that I just told you what TikTok hospital is. All right, that's really great. Do you know who Diego is on TikTok?
I'm thinking of Dora.
No, it's not. See, you don't use TikTok, so it's not
I don't use TikTok
because you're what?
I'm not an idiot. Let me rephrase this because people are gonna really hate me.
No, that's fine.
I don't use TikTok because I have other things to do.
Like play Minecraft.
This is a lot more enjoyable than TikTok. I'm not gonna get upset at this. There's no controversy in Minecraft.
Yeah, why do people get famous on TikTok?
Your thoughts?
Your thoughts? Why is who's the one that's like
Ego probably.
No, I know, but like they find them like hot. Like which one's the ones like why do people get famous? Do they get famous because they're hot?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's just not me being like weird, right? That's like true.
They're just that's because stereotypically hot. Yes. I have a girlfriend. I need to say that.
Okay, but like, do you think if they were ugly but just as talented, they would get famous?
No.
Now, none of these people are as bad as our last boy, who goes by the name Diego. Diego plays the character Jack, and Jack is an enigma.
Are you okay? Do you need me to get someone? A doctor?
I'm fine. Sorry.
Should I get your parents?
No. I don't want to talk to anyone. Just need a moment to be upset, okay?
I get that.
Oh, having a hole in your heart's pretty relatable, huh?
Nope, but I know what it's like to pretend to be okay when you're really not.
Jack is probably what the youth of today would think of as a bad boy, because that's what his character's been written as. But I've known criminals, and it hasn't been that long since I was in high school and had friends who committed crime regularly. My friends who were criminals or did that in their youth would beat him up. Jack's character was completely written for Diego, right? Because I guarantee you people find Diego attractive because he's like the teen bad boy, you know? I always compare it to like The Outsiders because that seems to be a look that's in for like the bad boy nowadays. But he is not that. He is a kid that you bully. And it's just because he exudes absolutely zero confidence on front of a camera. I honestly don't even understand how he has so many followers on TikTok if he's that uncomfortable in front of a camera. Now, what's the problem with Jack now? Diego stumbles his lines, mumbles everything. His character is supposed to act like he doesn't want to be there, but it doesn't really feel like he doesn't want to be there. It feels like he doesn't understand where he is or why he's here, right? As if he's lost, and it's weird. And he just completely is just not in the moment, as if his mind is somewhere else. Like, I don't know if something's been bothering him during this production or something happened, but he seems super uncomfortable. It's almost a feat of its own to say that every line of dialogue that Diego speaks in this show is cringy. It's wince-worthy. It's painful. I sit there and go, oh, they should have let you do another take. Or if he wanted to get into acting and do it seriously, he'll never have a chance now because he looks so bad.
I've been looking for you.
Here I am.
You know, I was a TV too. All 4 years of high school.
So?
So I didn't want to be here either. I messed up and this was my punishment.
Well, why are you still hanging around?
Because I made the best of it.
On behalf of the patient, can you please stop jibber-jabbering?
But enough of talking about how he can't act, because I understand, yada yada, they're kids, blah, 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 right? I will say, though, is that there's child actors who've been struggling and working hard to get positions like those kids have, okay? And they can act better than these kids. But let's talk about Jack's character, aside from Diego's acting. So Jack is supposed to be the bad boy, and he's at Attaway General, not because he wants to, but because he has to. Okay, what else? Jack, according to the show, is a felon. It was either this kid with a rap sheet works in an ER or goes to juvie. Why is this kid in a hospital? Who's gonna trust him? Sorry if I'm typecasting like felons, but come on, give me a break. Now let me tell you why Jack is in this show and where his character's gonna go, because, you know, because I just give predictions like that. So Jack is gonna learn what responsibility is over the course of the show, right? Where right now he doesn't want to be responsible and he doesn't like it, blah, blah, blah. He doesn't want to be there. He's gonna learn he's gonna fall in love with somebody, and he's gonna be the person to learn why it's important to be responsible. That's his character arc. Calling it right now. If they do something different and he turns into like Darth Vader, sure, fine. But right now, that's what it's gonna be, and I'm calling it. Now, the crime that Jack committed was that he and his friend stole his friend's dad's car, right? And they went on a joyride with it, and Jack totaled the car because he doesn't know how to drive, right? Okay, so they stole a car, and then the friend's dad pressed charges on Jack, even though his son was also an accomplice in this crime that they committed together. Jack also tries to make himself out to be some kind of like mysterious criminal crook mastermind, when in reality, there was absolutely zero reason aside from, I just don't want to tell you what crime I committed. And then they just don't ever leave that to be a mystery. Like, you could actually make him kind of like an interesting character if you just didn't say why he committed a crime. But for some reason, they just don't want to commit to one of these characters being a not good person. When in reality, that would have been much better. It wouldn't have saved the acting, but it would have been a better script. Now, the main cast is basically this star-studded E-celeb romp with like nothing but TikTok celebrities appearing left, right, and center. And here's the problem with that, is that none of them have time to develop into anything. Shows move too fast at 10 minutes long. There's absolutely zero time for character growth. It ends up being completely lopsided. It's not well produced when you make it that short. It just isn't. This is not enough time for people. If you're going to be having a medical drama and you want a multi-cast like group of people, do yourself a favor and lower the number of people to 2 or 3 at least, and focus it on the love triangle. When you start adding 4, 5, 6 main characters that all have deep rooted backstories, I end up not noticing or caring about most of them because they don't have enough time to develop on screen. You can create a much better narrative if you hone down on the characters and, hell, even the main cast, and make it more specifically about the love triangle romance of these kids who help in a hospital. Also, you can do it without committing so much malpractice, but you know, if we're gonna have a lawsuit on our hands, might as well go the whole way. And you know, like Grey's Anatomy, because you know they basically copied the homework here. There's lots of melodrama, just like Grey's Anatomy. Lots. It's almost practically a main staple of the show to just be not representative of real medical practice. In fact, literally, as the time of me writing this, Dr. Mike just put out his reaction to this. So I mean, I'll leave a link down to that down below. But you know, obviously there's a lot of issues with having teenagers work in a hospital and do all these things with patients. As far as the look and shooting of the show, I mean, everything looks fine. Nothing's in particular like stand out bad. So there's a character, Nina, who for some reason looks like a resident and in all ways seems to be a resident doctor at Attaway General. But for some weird reason, she's wearing a teen volunteer scrubs. And there's also another character who's definitely a resident, but is for some reason wearing a teen volunteer scrub. Okay, point is, Nina, the character who opens up the show and is the first one to give dialogue and explain what a teen volunteer is, looks directly into the camera like I am doing now, makes complete eye contact, and this would be fine if the show was filled with fourth wall breaking moments similar to The Office and it was shot like a show like The Office, but no, as far as we know, we're supposed to be having these intimate moments without the camera even being there. We're present, but the camera's not a character, right? But she talks directly into the camera like this, and that's a huge problem because it completely breaks illusion and you already start off on the wrong foot.
The Teen Volunteer, or TV program, is what you make of it. The more you prove yourself, the more rewarding your time will be.
When will we get to observe in the ER?
The ER is usually reserved for third-year TVs. As first-year TVs, you guys will be on pediatrics. You'll help with clerical work, transpo, keeping patients company.
Yes. Babysitting. Great.
That's right, Georgia. Make them feel seen, heard, comforted, whatever they need.
You need to have her look past the camera. Notice how I'm not looking at the camera right now, but I'm still facing towards the camera. I could still be walking in this direction, but I'm not looking at the camera. You know, if there were any other bad actors in this, they weren't worth mentioning. They just were good, not worthy of any of the time given to them in this video. I mean, you know, we have all these child stars that are breaking their legs basically to go get a role, and then you just have a celebrity who can't act take the role, and it's a dang shame. You know, it really is. You know, Hollywood is a vicious beast that eats up people and then spits them out, and it's awful, and you hear tons of awful things, especially about people like Harvey Weinstein, but there's a lot of people that are trying really hard to break into it, and it's a shame when people like this just get a free pass despite not having any talent whatsoever. And I'm not saying they're untalented. They're obviously great TikTokers. I don't know why, but that just sounds like I'm insulting them. You know, but you have like actors who've been like doing this since they were like 3, going to auditions, taking acting classes, doing all that. And they're like good child actors. And then they don't get the role. Listen, who am I to be judging this show? This show has probably already made more money than I have in my entire career. Right? With those views, are you kidding me? You kidding me? They get like Extra and like Just Dance 2020 to be sponsors. Who gets the Extra gum as a sponsor? That's crazy. These kids are richer and more successful than I will ever be in life, right? But here's some advice that the TikTokers in the audience watching this video can take to the bank. Guys, just because an executive comes to you and offers you something that you've always wanted to do doesn't mean you have to say yes. Just because you're young doesn't mean you need to make a fool of yourself either, okay? You can take the time to learn to become an actor without making yourself look stupid. Learn to say no to people who are offering you deals. I understand it might be a lot of money involved, but you can say no. It's important to learn to say no. Even for creative projects you want to do. Be genuine with yourself with the skills you do have and don't have, and then take the time to learn those skills. And you can take that advice to the bank. Anyway, my name is FPS Diesel. Follow me on all the social medias listed down below.
Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Head to toe. Said you got your own style, that's just slang for you, ain't got it though. Talking like you got it, that's a problem, I might let them know. Squeeze you like I'm Elsa, so my let it go. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Head to toe. Said you got your own style, that's just slang for you, ain't got it.